basis. Together tonight with my volunteer staff, Kathy Fox, Lisa Soda-Downs, and Helen Carson, we want to thank Principal Kevin Gallick for allowing us to host the event at the high school tonight. Also, we want to thank the residents for coming out, campaign volunteers, and then we're also, more importantly, pleased to present the two candidates for the 2019 10th Ward Alderman upcoming election. So Alderwoman Susan Garza and Alderman Robert Loncar. If you plan on live streaming tonight, that's fine. However, we ask that you not speak during the event. Be respectful, as we would be respectful to you if we were to come to one of your events. The rules for tonight are quite simple. We ask the audience please be respectful of both candidates by allowing them to speak without interruption. We're here to listen to what they have to say, and if we have continuous interruptions, we'll stop the event and we'll all go home. We don't want to do that.
That's right, Rose.
The candidates will be allowed 3 minutes to introduce themselves and produce their platforms and present their platforms. After which, we will present the questions submitted to the newspaper via email or at the beginning of tonight's event. Those are the only questions that will be presented for response tonight. Both candidates will be given 2 minutes to answer all questions. When that portion of the evening is complete, we will give each candidate 2 minutes for a wrap-up and conclude the event. When you came in, we gave you a piece of paper with the names of both candidates and also the word undecided. After the event, if you will please, we'd like to take a poll. And if you didn't get those sheets of paper, it looks like you didn't, sorry. We'll pass them out now as the candidates are speaking. If you can, tear off the name of the candidate that you think you might vote for or you're considering going for. If you're undecided, please let us know. And we'll post those on the website and also on social media pages, just to give people a feeling, and the candidates also a feeling of what's going on. All right, so we're going to begin. I want to present our mediator for this evening, Martin Downs. Mr. Downs will toss a coin, which will decide who gets to speak first, and then he'll present each question. And I'll be keeping track of the time for each candidate, and we have it posted up there too for everyone to see. All right? So, Mr. Downs.
Hello everybody and welcome. I will go ahead and right now toss the coin to see who will answer the question first. After that point on, we'll alternate between which candidate will answer the question first. Heads will be Alderman Garza and tails will be Mr. Loncar.
Can we get somebody from the audience to, could you?
Oh, that works too, yeah.
Actually, do it over and let him call it. Sorry. I'm trying to be as fair as possible.
I'll flip it again. I could have made that shot.
He's throwing it up.
Oh,
It's spinning, it's spinning.
It's spinning.
Heads it is.
Heads it is.
I forgot. Who was he? Oh, okay.
Well, so first we'll give you your 2 minutes, you said? 3 minutes for each?
3 minutes to introduce themselves and let everyone know about their platform, and then 2 minutes for each question.
Right. Alderman Garza, your 3 minutes. We'll start as soon as the timer goes.
Okay, hi, my name is Susan SADLOWSKI Garza. I'm happy to be here tonight and proud to be able to serve you as your alderwoman. In the 4 years that I've been in office, we have brought the 10th Ward out of the shadows and into the light. And for me, that's very exciting. It's important to me that the 10th Ward residents have a voice, and we've been working hard to build a sense of community where people can be proud of where they live and work. We've implemented participatory budgeting, bi-monthly meetings with the Chicago Department of Public Health, working with NRDC, People Against Pet Coke, and Southeast Environmental Task Force to ensure that our environmental needs are being answered. We've also implemented traveling ward nights, so we're in every neighborhood, not just one. We've installed new playground equipment in 90% of our parks. We've installed 9 LED lighting in high crime areas, and we've worked closely with CPD and the 4th District and the District Commander. We are at every single beat meeting, and we talk to the department on a daily basis. Our TIF funds have been used to repair our crumbling infrastructure as well as our schools. We have brought 5 major manufacturers here as well as a major development. 27 new small businesses now call the 10th Ward their home. All of these which have created jobs or will create jobs for the 10th Ward residents. We've also implemented a lot of community outreach programs. We brought back the Labor Day Parade and the festival, music at the port, community campouts. We've done a garden on 92nd Street in Mackinac, complete with goats and chickens that employs over 100 youth over the summer. I've worked to make sure that all of our corners are ADA compliant because they weren't when I got here. I've worked with parents to form Parents of Extraordinary Children, and we've worked together to fight back against CPS because 19 of our kids were bused all the way to the north side because the programs they needed didn't exist here. We now, at Southeast, starting January 1st, we have a program and those kids no longer have to be bused out. We have a severe and profound cluster program at Southeast that will address those kids' needs. We also opened in the second week of January, we'll be opening called A Place for Autism that will actually make sure that kids who have autism ages 2 to 6, their needs will be addressed as well. We have a lot more to do, and I'm going to help continue to create jobs, increase public safety, rebuild our infrastructure, and build a sense of community. And I look forward to doing that with all of you.
Good evening. Thank you for coming out, and thank you to the Hegewisch Times for putting this event together.
I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. My apologies. Sorry, my apologies.
For many of you, this is the first opportunity that you've had to see the Alderwoman and myself sit side by side. This is going to be a great chance for all of you to see where we differ on our visions for the future of the 10th Ward and how we plan to take the ward in that direction. It's okay. A lot of familiar faces in the area in front of us right here in the audience, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Bobby Loncar. I'm a lifelong resident of the 10th Ward and grew up in the Vets Park neighborhood. I currently live on the east side with my lovely wife who's in the audience, and we're raising our 3 children right here on the east side. I earned my bachelor's degree in liberal arts and sciences at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. The major was economics. I went on to study law at the John Marshall Law School where I earned my JD. Since 2011, I've had my own law practice based right here in the based right here based right here in South Chicago. It's always been important to me to make sure that that law practice remained there. That's one less storefront in South Chicago that we're occupying. Recently, we opened up a branch office in the Loop, and we continue to move forward. With respect to our vision of the community, with respect to my vision of the community, and the reason I'm running for Alderman, I believe in the 10th Ward, and I believe in the communities of the 10th Ward. I believe that if we're going to move forward and keep the communities of the 10th Ward strong and alive, we need more than just jobs. We need to make sure that the people who are occupying those jobs are hired from within, and that people choose the 10th Ward as a place to live and to raise their families. The situation we have right now, an increasing number of families are leaving the communities of the 10th Ward and they're moving to Northwest Indiana, they're moving to the south suburbs, they're moving to the southwest suburbs, or other parts of the city if they're required to live in the city. We don't just need jobs. We need to encourage, convince people this is a great place to live, and in order to do that, we're going to have to revitalize the commercial districts. That is imperative. We need to make sure that the TIF money available to us is going for that cause. We need to make sure that it is being spent properly. Currently, it is unspent, misspent, or non-existent, depending on which part of the 10th ward you're in. I understand that 4 years ago, many people voted for change, but based on our knocking on doors and the feedback we're getting from the community, the change we got over the last 4 years is not exactly what people are looking for. That's why I'm running for 10th ward alderman, and I look forward to a spirited and lively debate with the alderwoman. After today, I hope that you can all have a better understanding of where we differ on the issues, and on some things where we agree. There actually are things that we agree on. So thank you all so much for coming, and I look forward to the first question.
Thank you to both of our candidates. I will remind you again that you have 2 minutes to answer questions, at which point I will call time. Please stop speaking when time is called.
I have a question. Do we get a chance to rebuttal?
If circumstances warrant, I will allow a 30-second rebuttal to the candidate who answered first. For our audience, if you still have questions that you have not turned in, you can, throughout the rest of the evening, turn them into the table at the front. We already do have quite a few questions here, so I cannot guarantee that we'll get to all of them tonight. But if your question was not answered tonight, these questions will be going to both of the candidates to allow them a chance to respond to you online or through the Hegewisch Times page. With that said, our first question comes from the youngest member of our audience and is fitting given that we are in a school. What do you plan to do about the problem of overcrowded classrooms at Grissom Elementary School? This question, Mr. Loncar will start first, and then Sue will go second.
That is a good question. That's definitely something that would be a top priority. We need to make sure that our kids aren't in overcrowded classrooms. I would take a serious look at it. I don't have the statistics in front of me, and I do not know to what extent the classrooms are currently overcrowded, but I am somebody who can take information like that and analyze it and come up with solutions. Possible solutions would include some sort of annex like we saw at Marsh School several years ago. We could possibly do more of the outside classrooms like you see outside Gallistel and other schools. So admittedly, I do not have that information in front of me as to the extent of overcrowdedness, but if there is an issue with overcrowdedness, we need to find solutions together as a community to solve that problem.
I actually have been working on this issue for 4 years. The Friday before Christmas, we brought the facilities team from CPS down to tour Grissom Elementary School to see firsthand on what the crowded situation is. Our 8th grade has 42 kids in a classroom, and that's been going on like that for at least 6 years. I was area vice president for Chicago Teachers Union. Annexes are great, but they're not built in a day. And I mean, a school like what we did at Marsh, what happened at Marsh, or even the demountables that are there, cost over $10.8 million, and CPS is crying broke. So we need a quick fix. What we asked for, I brought LSC, I brought parents, we organized, we had a meeting, and what the fix is for them to give us a demountable, a trailer, so we can relieve that overcrowding right now and not wait for an annex to be built. We've actually worked with Chicago Teachers Union, Parents for Teachers, as well as the principal and the facilities manager at CPS, and we're waiting for their idea on what they're going to do to relieve that overcrowding, because no kid, there should not be 43 kids in a classroom at all.
Quick rebuttal.
Yes, 30 seconds.
Just as a quick rebuttal, nothing happens overnight. If we're going to solve the problem properly, it's not going to happen overnight, and it's going to take time. We don't want to cheap out on the community for temporary solutions only to have to redo them later on down the line. And secondly, one comment about what we did with Marsh had happened long before the Alderwoman came into office. But that was a long-term solution. The school basically tripled its size and it possibly doubled. It takes the whole city block now.
Didn't claim it did Marsh.
All right, thank you.
No, you didn't.
Our second question. And again, I will just quickly note, I'm reading these questions as they were submitted to me by members of the community. If they are pointed towards one alderman, then I will take or one candidate, excuse me, then I will take steps to broaden the question so both candidates can answer that question. The question reads, and this will be for Alderman Sue. what are you going to do, if elected, to ensure clean air and clean water for the people of the 10th Ward? I'm very concerned about manganese and a neurotoxin in the air.
So that's a great question. So over the past 4 years, we've worked with People Against Pet Coke, Southeast Environmental Task Force, National Resource Defense Council, and we meet bi-monthly with the Chicago Department of Public Health to ensure that our concerns are addressed. We've made great strides in actually what's happening with manganese. Since we've been here, manganese has been, right now the ordinance says that manganese cannot be increased. If you start with 10 pounds of manganese, you can't bring in 20 pounds. It has to be enclosed. There has to be a bag house. There has to be air monitors. At the end of February, right now we're working with CDPH to ensure and push those rules even harder. To make sure that they have metal monitors and the whole facility has to be enclosed. I'm pushing to make sure that every single facility in this ward has an air monitor as well as a metal monitor. And if you do have manganese on your property, you have to enclose your whole facility. And that should be rolling out in February. There was an ordinance that was passed. You're right, Bobby and I talked about this. My name doesn't appear on it. But the mayor did push it forward, but that was because of the work that the groups that I mentioned earlier actually met with CDPH, NRDC, and the city to make sure that happened. And frankly, I don't care that just his name is on it. As long as it gets done, that's all I care about.
The manganese ordinance does not currently require that manganese be enclosed and that air monitors be installed. The proposed regulations that are, as of last time I checked, since April 2018, the proposed regulations state that manganese must be enclosed unless it falls under the following exception. And the exception is that if you install air monitors. So the regulations as they currently are proposed say that manganese must be enclosed or air monitors must be installed. It is not the case that they must be enclosed and air monitors must be installed.
No, he has 2 minutes. Continue.
With respect to that enclosure exception for air monitors having been installed, it renders the ordinance utterly worthless. We don't want air monitors. We want that stuff enclosed. If you require that substance to be enclosed, it will be driven out of the community just like pet coke was. If the manganese ordinance followed the pet coke ordinance word for word, it would no longer be a problem. But it doesn't. There's an air monitoring exception to the enclosure requirement. Can everyone hear me all the way back there?
So I'd like to rebut on that.
Yes, you have 30 seconds.
So the manganese ordinance does mirror the pet coke ordinance, and it's in regards to bulk material. And if you notice now, the pet coke is all enclosed, as well as our SH Bell, their manganese is enclosed. Watco, the manganese is enclosed. You need to go back and read the ordinance, Bobby, because it's not either or, it's both. It's enclosed and air monitoring, and all those facilities that I just named are all enclosed.
You got it right here. We'll share it later.
All right, thank you.